Danse Rustique is literally one of my favorite things to play. So whenever someone says to me, oh, play me something, this is sort of my go-to piece because, you know, people love listening to it and it's fun for me. So one thing I think that can make this piece really musically successful is thinking of it in 1 rather than in 2. So it's written in 2/4, which would give you sort of a sense of but for me that gets a little heavy and cumbersome. So I prefer to think of it in 1, which would be more like Now it might not seem like a huge difference, but it does give a different groove to it and is kind of a different feeling physically as well. So the reason I mention this is because right at the very beginning, you need to establish this sense of 1, and that's a little tricky to do because on the second bar of the piece, the downbeat is on an up bow, which is not a naturally strong gesture. So to give it the strength that it needs to really put us in 1 from the very start, you just need to be ultra aware of that up bow and bringing it up. So the note I'm talking about is that one, the A. Okay, so I practice exactly that a bunch of times. And then maybe I'd add a few notes after that. And you'll see that that up bow, to really get it to speak, takes some attention. Okay, so if we keep going from there, I'm going to slow down just a bit. Now, some smile in the bow, right? That bow stroke, just let it release. So sweet, so gentle, so that it's a great contrast to this. Okay? Now, speaking of 16th notes like the ones I just played, there are quite a few of these quick 16th notes in this piece. And for me, to make them work, I find that what I really need is a super scrubby détaché bow stroke. And so that means I'm in the string. I'm going to use very, very, very little bow. And I'll probably start by practicing this just on maybe an open A or an open D. It's going to sound like this. Okay, so you see how little bow I was using? You see how the sound, it's almost like machine gun fire or something, right? It just breaks right through. Opening at the elbow, okay? Small, small, small bows, and leaning into the string to make sure you get that connection, that contact. One thing that does happen with this piece, I would say, is with these some of these tricky runs, people get scared, like, oh, fast notes, high notes, and so their bow wimps out. And I would suggest to you that you do exactly the opposite. You know, even if this hand is feeling a little shy, let this one remain strong and kind of be the leader. You know, if you've ever heard the expression strong and wrong, this is the time for it. Or strong and right would be even better. But you know, even if you're gonna like flub up a little bit, do it boldly. Okay, so keep this in the string, and it will actually give your left hand confidence. Okay, so get this bow stroke just solid on open string, and then go ahead and add the notes. You can add it in little chunks. Oops, sorry. There we go. Okay, so you want to get those so they just fire right out. Then we keep going. It's like the beginning again. I'm going to slow down. Now this big shift, right? That's going to be one to practice. Now I would definitely think about how my finger is releasing. Okay, so I'm not jumping, but I'm not holding the string down the whole time. I'm just skating over the top. And definitely my arm is going to lead this motion. It's not coming from the fingers. So I'd probably practice with some kind of, you know, bounce or wind up. And now, would it really be this big in the end? Well, maybe I wouldn't get quite so active in my elbow, but it sure is good for practice. And what's really helpful about it is it helps us get past the rib of the cello. Because another thing I see from people a lot is they do big shifts and they go, and they splat on the side of the cello, the rib of the cello, and then they're flat. Okay? So doing this kind of wind up can help propel you right over that side of the cello there, so you avoid that collision. Anyhow, once you've gotten feeling comfortable with just the shift, then it's time to think about the run that's about to happen. So we need, okay, that third finger, quick shift, and then we've got a whole step and a whole step. And then another shift back to extended second position. Okay, so probably I'd practice this slowly a few times. Shift. Shift. And if you're really measuring out these hand positions, then you've got a pretty good chance of being in tune, okay? You need to know what that feels like to make sure that you're going to be in tune. You're aiming for that position. Some fast practice could also work there, right? You could go... That would be a great place to start. Maybe then add a note. And I do also like, I don't know if you've noticed, these first three notes, since it's the same note 3 times, we might as well give it some direction, right? More, less, or sorry, least, more, most, that kind of idea. So. All right. So that would be one of those runs that don't let it scare you. Keep the bow strong. Bow's gonna, on those high notes, need to be close to the bridge to get your best sound. Some things to think about. Then the next section, how nice. Sounds cool, but it's super easy. So we've got. Okay, now here I am sort of thinking it in 2, because I like that sort of. This is the one place where I think heavy is no problem at all. But then this moment, so fun, so charming. So I practice it a bunch. Now this top note, as soon as you hit it, you can probably take both your finger and the bow off the string to get ready for the note that's coming. So, that kind of idea. Then we keep going with it. 1, 2, triplet. Okay, and that was scrubby, 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 scrubby bow the whole time. Bow, when I was higher, was closer to the bridge, of course. So then it's like back at the beginning, same kind of idea. So let's skip down to measure 51, where all of a sudden our character changes completely. Okay? Now, although the character changes, the tempo does not slow down. So if you were going, oh, now I'm clicking in 2. Shame on me. Anyhow, here at measure 51, you're still going to have. Okay, so it's not slower, but it is sweeter. Okay, so you've got to experiment with what kind of gentle sound you can get. Right? Then the other thing that I think trips people up in this middle section is counting the long notes. And they're not hard, so long as you actually count them. It's when you don't count that then you get lost and you have no idea where you are. So I'm going to play through this whole middle section just a little on the slow side, and I will count out loud with you on those longer notes. So let's go about. Ready, and. last note, you want to go out gloriously. So get yourself close to the bridge. Have some real vibrato on that note, right? Okay, so and then we're just like the beginning until we get to measure 112, where it changes. I'll go slowly. 1, 2, 3. Now piano. Mezzo forte. Rest. Rest. Okay, and those last chords will probably take some practice. You can do just the open strings by themselves to get your bow in the mood, right? Make sure you're coming around the string, getting a gorgeous tone. And then you'll probably need to do some intonation practice. So, you've got the fifth on the bottom, so you got your finger squished, and just know that on some cellos you might need your finger at this kind of angle, some cellos you might need your finger more angled like this. It's not necessarily going to feel like it's straight across. And then we add our E on the top there, so some vibrato would be nice, certainly. And nice strong bow. And then we go down, just lay our finger down across the bottom two strings. Still need to check intonation maybe on that fifth. Okay, cool. Then I got my third finger and my fourth finger. And again, some vibrato. Let me see, I wasn't playing tune. There we go. Okay, and don't expect that to be the most comfortable hand position in the world, but don't worry, it doesn't last long. And by that point, you are finished, and the audience is going wild, and you feel really good, even though your hand doesn't like that last note. All right, good luck, have fun.